Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. During discussions about a proposed one-week moratorium on strikes against energy infrastructure, Russia attacked Ukraine with ballistic missiles and 111 strike drones. In the frontline Zaporizhzhia region, an industrial infrastructure facility was hit, and both apartment buildings and private homes were damaged as a result. 3 people were wounded. Overall, in the past 24 hours, Russia has carried out around 800 artillery and drone strikes on 33 settlements across the region. Now, in the northern part of the front line, in the Chernihiv region, Russian forces continue intense shelling of border areas. In addition, they are actively hunting civilian vehicles with drones. An FPV drone strike destroyed a service vehicle of the border guard, as well as several civilian cars. Authorities describe this pattern of attacks as safari-style strikes on local residents. In addition, during the night, Russian forces attacked the region with Shahed drones. At least 4 explosions were recorded. A fire broke out at the impact site, and facades and windows of nearby buildings were damaged. Turning to the battlefield now, in the Kupiansk front, Russian military command continues efforts to bring the situation on the ground into line with its official reports. The Ukrainian open-source intelligence resource Infactum draws attention to a statement by the 16th Army Corps of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, which refuted claims made by Russia's chief of the General Staff and commander of the Joint Grouping of Forces, Valery Gerasimov, regarding alleged fighting in Kutkivka, northwest of the Russian bridgehead on the right bank of the Oskil River. Ukrainian military analyst Konstantin Mashoviets believes that the Russian command is attempting to adjust the frontline situation to match earlier claims about the capture of Kupiansk and Kupiansk-Uzlovy. To achieve this, Russian forces are trying to break through to Russian units encircled in Kupiansk along both banks of the Oskil River, while simultaneously attacking the Ukrainian bridgehead on the left bank. However, according to Mashoviets, attempts to advance through narrow corridors adjacent to the river have failed due to effective Ukrainian flanking fire. For this reason, he argues, Russian command has decided to launch an offensive on the left bank of Kupiansk along a broader front, relying on its numerical and material superiority to stretch Ukrainian forces and attempt a breakthrough at the most vulnerable sector. Nevertheless, Mashoviets predicts that to accomplish these objectives, Russian forces would need to deploy additional troops, either from strategic reserves or by redeploying units from neighboring fronts. Special forces from the Alta Special Operations Center of the Security Service of Ukraine continue to carry out precision strikes deep behind enemy lines, showcasing the capabilities of long-range drones. Now, last year alone, the unit hit 5 military airfields in temporarily occupied areas, disabling 15 enemy aircraft. Ukrainian special services estimate that the total losses for the enemy exceeded $1 billion. The operations are backed by unique footage capturing both the moment of impact and the scale of the destruction. Now that was quite an impressive array of aircraft destroyed. One in particular, I believe, deserves a mention, the MiG-31. Now, you might be familiar with that one. Occasionally, they actually make the headlines. Now, this type of aircraft is capable of carrying the Kinjal missile. The missile itself is quite nasty because it's difficult to intercept. The aircraft itself also quite expensive. Again, difficult to down. It usually operates far away from the borders because the Russians don't want to use them and lose them potentially in combat. Now, the Ukrainians obviously had different ideas here, so they've managed to catch them unwary while still at the airfield. And every single MiG-31 destroyed brings about greater security, fewer Kinjal missiles flying around and reaching targets potentially. So, great news. Now, we're moving on to our next story. In the Donetsk region, a Leopard 1A5 tank of the Ukrainian Armed Forces fires directly at Russian troop positions in a forest belt near the village of Novodmitrivka. The tank is used as a means of fire support for the infantry, quick movement into position, several accurate shots, and a change of location to avoid counter-battery fire. The forest belt, which the enemy used for cover and to gather personnel, was instead covered with targeted fire. The Leopard 1A5's performance once again confirms the effectiveness of Western armored vehicles in maneuver warfare, accuracy, mobility, and coordinated interaction with frontline units. In the village of Stepnogirsk, in the Zaporizhzhia region, Ukrainian Special Forces unit carries out a successful assault operations against Russian military positions. Now, the group in question included foreign volunteers from Colombia. A two-story building, which Russians used as a shelter and stronghold, was destroyed by an explosion. According to available information, there were at least 5 Russian paratroopers stationed inside. And with this, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. Stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.